All right, what's up, everybody? This is a quick me update. So I didn't want to do this, but this is like the fifth video that I've seen today about people that had expectations for service, and what they got didn't meet their expectations. Even though what they got didn't meet their expectations, um, even though they reviewed some reviews and so forth and so on. I'm gonna let you listen to this man's video, and then I'll talk about I'll talk about a few different situations that I came across today. This is one. He's talking about his dry cleaners. Another one talked about insurance company. Another one talked about Michael Kors bags. Um, there was a bunch of different scenarios that are similar to this, but I'll let you listen to his, and then I'll go off and talk a little bit about it on a tangent here. So I went to Old Nashville Rock and I got me this drink for $50. Y'all, it's a Calvin Klein drink for $50. When I tell y'all I want to drink, and I'm thinking to myself, this drink is not. Okay, I'm not gonna rock. I want to. Because I was. You're gonna listen to it twice. You know, we walking out there with a flag behind the clothes and a line. So it's a fancy drink. It's a fancy drink. So nice. But I thought we can have one to take every day. So it's like a box of pancakes. And I have a whole girl. Or start in the restaurant, down, nothing that is a little so I just yeah, he said, okay, we need one of them. I said, well, it's wrong. I said, well, he said, yeah, come on. I said, okay, this guy is good. We need a congratulate. I said, I'm waiting for the saying, I'm not going to All right, so I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share with you experiences. So here's what's up, you guys. So, like I said, today I've watched a few videos, and this is like the third, fourth, maybe even fifth. I don't even remember all of them that I've seen. That the topic was people are not getting what they expected. Okay, I think this started with late last night where I came across this video of this woman, and looks like a middle-aged white housewife woman, and she goes to Michael Kors to buy a handbag, and her husband paid for $300 for this handbag, right? And so she takes very good care of it. She's real anal about everything, just like he says he got that. He took such good care of it and thought he was doing a good job of taking better care of it, right? So she clips the tags off of it. She keeps the tags wrapped in nice tissue paper in a drawer somewhere because she's so proud of her Michael Kors bag. And within 4 months, though, the bag started unraveling. Like the strings, you can literally pull the strings off the handbag portion, the handle portion of it. And I saw this and I was like, damn, this is equivalent to the bags that I buy at the thrift store, just because they were cheap or free or what have you. And so she goes on and she talks about how, she has all the tags and everything. So she goes to Michael Kors store and she lets them know, hey, I bought this at the store. It's only been 4 months and this thing is absolutely falling apart. And basically, they didn't give a fuck. Basically, they did not care. They went on about their business, and she was so disappointed. You know, and so she posted about it. And the way that I felt her pain, because you could tell she really appreciated that bag. She really thought she was getting something good. The way people talk about Michael Kors and all this and all that, and she even got her husband to invest in it by purchasing her a bag, which probably is not a big deal, but still, And I felt her pain because she put so much care into it. She cares about her stuff. And the service that she got was absolutely horrible, you know? And what I have to say about that is this. It reminded me of the Nutty Professor. I don't know if you guys remember watching the Nutty Professor back in the day. And when the professor was selling his potion or whatever, he was like, he was talking about the rich race word dummy section, where basically, these people are spending all this money on something that ain't worth anything. And I think I did a duet with that video because I talked about how, living in Overtown, you live like half a block away from place where people are spending 10 times as much. You're getting the same thing. You're exposed to the same crime. It didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense at all. So, with this being said, going on from Michael Kors, and then the next thing I saw was a situation where this woman that I followed, she had State Farm insurance. Something happened with her vehicle. She waited a while to turn the insurance off because she was like she's going to get another vehicle, but it didn't happen as quickly as she thought that it was going to happen. But she didn't think nothing of it. She called State Farm to let them know, hey, please turn my insurance off. I no longer have that vehicle, right? But what they ended up doing, they still ended up charging her for a whole another month. They said it was turned off by this date, November 4th. November 4th came, and she got an automatic withdrawal from her money for that, and she no longer had it. Then the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, whoever turned off your insurance didn't turn it off appropriately. They kept the direct deposit on, which didn't make any freaking kind of sense at all, because if you turned it off, direct deposit goes off too. Ain't nobody paying for nothing and you ain't getting no service. Didn't make sense. I think he was just telling her something, because if he asked questions to whoever his superiors were, it was going to come down on him. So that's what she did. She turned it back on, and then he said he would turn it back off. But lo and behold, she gets 3 more billings for that amount. Not even a month. Every 2 weeks, they're taking out more money. So at the end of this whole thing, debacle, she's $280 something short, right? So she's back and forth with them, stressing about it, talking to people, halfway getting people that don't speak English, halfway getting people they halfway give a darn. And then they send her a check for $40, and it doesn't tell her what the $40 is for. And then they basically are not taking her calls anymore, because when she calls, she can't get through. And these places got caller ID and stuff like that. And once they have your number programmed in, even if it's a private number, because when I called my insurance company, I'd be calling from a different number, and they would pull up somebody else's account based on the number I'm calling from. I'm like, bitch, I didn't give you that number. Why are you reciting that number back to me? But anyhow, so that's how it goes. Then this video with this guy, he's thinking that it's all prestigious to go to a fucking dry cleaner. And so he's just like, he went to Ross, and he's thinking he's lucked up because he got this name brand at Ross, and he paid $50 on it. They got you, buddy. But he paid $50 on it. And so he goes to the dry cleaner, pays the probably Asian lady $10 to dry clean it, and he's just like, yeah, it's going to be all fresh and clean, because he plans on wearing it a whole lot. He takes it there, and he takes his time going back to get it. He goes back to get it. They didn't do anything to it. Then the woman had to have an attitude while she was putting it up, pulling it up for him to retrieve, right? And charges him $10. She probably had an attitude because she knows she ain't touched it, and then charge him $10, and he go on, and he's flabbergasted. He's like, oh, he's being bougie because he only goes to places that's 4 or 5 stars. Don't let those stars and those reviews fool you, whether good or bad. Because I remember when I was first starting the business, and I was looking for my business address, I called this place, and the reviews was great. The guy had great reviews. I called, ain't nobody answer the phone. So what it is, they had their friends and their family give all these stellar reviews. Don't believe everything you see. Believe only half of what you see and none of what you hear is the rule of thumb to go by. And I'm going to tell you this, and bad reviews. Somebody might just not like somebody. Somebody just might, I'll tell you. I probably can't find a person in this world, none of that. You have to go by your instinct. What does your instinct tell you? And not based on what somebody else, but based on your interaction with this person. And you have one time. You have one time to fuck it up. You fuck it up, I'm done. I'm good. And so I'm going to say this because people pay for service. That girl, when she was calling that customer service place about that insurance, and in her mind, I think she's calling quote unquote customer service. And she's calling this place, and they're only doing what is going to keep their job. So they may know that you might never get the shit straightened out. And that's why I vow never to be somebody that just follows just to follow. If I see something is wrong, I'm going to question it. The benefit of the doubt, I'm going to question it. I'm going to ask because, hey, it could be just that I'm just not understanding. So I'm going to ask questions. And I'm not going to do anything that my spirit doesn't agree with. And that's the truth. You got people spending a lot of money, okay, lots of money, for memberships and things, for services. And they think because there's a name brand behind it that it means something. It doesn't mean shit. And I'm going to tell you this, a lot of these businesses are going down, and you have to be smart with it. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that you can do for yourself, do for yourself. There's no prestige behind having something just because it has a name brand behind it. There's no prestige. You turn into one of those people that the Nutty Professor talked about, the rich blank dummy section, where you're just doing something because there's a name behind it. The name means nothing. That name means that somebody wanted to make some money and they were able to do whatever it takes and had enough charisma, whether in marketing or otherwise, to get other people to be influenced by this. So you have to think smarter on your own. Does what I'm doing or what I'm requesting, does it make sense? Is this something that I can do for myself? And if it's something that you choose not to do for yourself, I don't think there's such thing as luxury anymore. There's no really good service. If it's something that you can do for yourself, do it for yourself and see what the outcome is. If you have an opportunity to weigh out the consequences of having one service over another, take both of them. And let me tell you, there's such a thing as engineered obsolescence. And history should teach us that. I'm a 75 baby, but back in the late 60s, the Volkswagen, they knew those cars were killing people. They knew. The people that ran it, they knew. They ran the numbers and said, will we lose more money if we recalled these vehicles and kept people safe? Or will we lose more money if we, let these people die and perhaps risk a lawsuit? These people don't care nothing about you. Whatever you can do for yourself, do for yourself. And going back to this woman in this Michael Kors bag that was raggedy as hell, going back to that, I remember, like I said, being in Miami and, buying Payless shoes, $5, $10, $15, $20, $25 at the very most. You know what I'm saying? And I remember, when you're there and you're halfway attractive, you meet people. And I remember some guy wanted to go out to dinner. He sent a car for me, spent a couple $1,000s for a driver, gave me a couple $1,000s to go shopping, to get prepared for dinner, to buy a dress, buy some shoes, perfume, whatever I wanted to buy. You know what I'm saying? And you guys, so I was like, let me check this out. I'm going to go to the mall or whatever, and I'm going to pick out Aventura or whatever. I'm going to pick out the most expensive, nicest shoes or whatever that people talk about. Spend a few $100s on these shoes. They hurt more than the Payless shoes. And there was also a video on TikTok where it showed how, Payless, they took Payless shoes and they put up a storefront in a high-end mall and called it Palessi. And people were spending, like I did, hundreds of dollars on shoes that cost $10, $15. And just because you have a name brand behind you, that doesn't mean shit. Those people don't care about anything but money, And I'm going to say this, you can fool some of the people some of the time. And you can fool sometimes all of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all the time. People are going to wake up to that shit. That's the dumbest shit ever, And for me, seeing some of this stuff take action behind the scenes and seeing how it's addressed when it's brought up to superiors, it just doesn't make sense. And it feels bad because being a person that's a customer as well as somebody that's been on the other end of that, when you have a customer, that says to you, hey, I really want good service. I really, hate to leave this company or this group. but this is what I'm paying for, and this is definitely not what I'm getting. And in your heart and soul, you know that, hey, I agree with that shit because you're not getting that. All of this you could have really done yourself. I don't say that, but that's really the truth. And then them wanting, and I understand from a customer's viewpoint, me wanting to have my voice heard. You can't even email a letter to somebody to let them know how you feel. You got to let some customer service agent take that information and translate it. And depending on how much they actually give a fuck, that message may or may not go through as you intended, or depending on the amount of stress or pressure that they have to end that call and go on to the next. You know, so this person was smart with it. He says, "I want to put this on recording. I want this to be recorded," and they made it clear. It's not the person; it's the service. I'm not getting what I paid for. And it's true. And it's sad that people are actually hoping for that. And it was good for me to see, and I have a certain amount of realization on my own too. Good for me to see on the other end that, hey, that shit ain't happening because the company, it's all about money. They don't care about these people. And like I said, fuck a rating because they get their family and friends to boost up those ratings. I mean, it's not about that. And this guy, and you can tell when people don't have a whole lot because the guy is talking about how, he only goes to places that are 4 or 5 stars. A business can make their business a 4 or 5 star if they have enough friends and family to sit and put fake reviews or employees. I remember working at places where the people that I worked with, they would go and put fake reviews. And I'm like, why would you do that? That's so dishonest. And it's just, and negative reviews, the same thing. So you have to go on your instinct and use some common sense. If it's something that you can do on your own, do it. And I'm going to tell you this: remember being in my late teens in college, went to this dental school or whatever. And they was like, "Oh, let us close your gap," but I was like, "No, I like my gap the way it is." But I'm thinking, okay, I'm young, so maybe they know better. No, baby, whatever your age is, wherever you are in your life, whatever your title is, you know better. You know better. Your instinct, your gut instinct, it tells you what is better. They ended up doing. I let them do that because again, you were always told, "Oh, you're young, you don't know." No, your spirit knows. If it's something you can do for yourself, do for yourself. Keep other people out of your shit as much as possible. If you can do it for you, do it for you. Sit back, observe, and learn. There was this woman I saw on TikTok, and she said her dad always told her, "Estudiar la gente," study people, study people. Watch how people move and how people act on things. You know, but for me, I just saw too many of these videos today where these people, they're really expecting something high end or high quality based on a name brand or based on the fact that people that supposedly have prestige, go to these places and they're not getting what they're paying for. And if you have to ask about something, it's just like any relationship, a relationship that you have with a brand, a relationship they have with a company, a person, an entity, or whatever. If you have to make it known, because people know right from wrong, especially after you get a certain age. If you have to say, "Well, I'm not getting the service that I want," they know what they said the service was that you were supposed to get. They know what the expectations. That company know what expectation they set out, and they know what they're providing and what they're able to and not able to provide. And I'm going to say this, even people that are well off, everybody goes through it. Okay, just seeing things behind the scenes. I always thought, and I shared with you guys some of my loser things that happened to me, but this happens to a lot of people. It's not necessarily based here solely on race or money or whatever. It's based on a lot of things. There are people that are well off. I remember speaking to this man, well off man, had it going on, whatever. He was in the airport trying to make this flight, this, that, and the other. He got some bad service, caused him to miss his flight. He couldn't get a refund. So he's somebody spending all this money that has money, that looks like money, that sounds like money. But he still gets the garbage end of the stick. But it's how people address it and come to terms with it that makes the difference. He wanted to show his lady friend a good time. Same, another situation similar, with the hurricanes or whatever that was going on. And, and I know how I don't have a whole lot, but I don't like people fucking with my shit. I don't like people messing with my stuff. And this lady that sounded like she's well off lived in a really well off part of Florida. And, when the hurricane came, people were stealing like the shingles and stuff that was left behind that came off her house. You know, that would have pissed me off. Then you had workers that were working in the house next door, leaving stuff at her on in front of her door. You know, stuff like that would have pissed me off. But because she had money, what it is, it's not necessarily the money that makes you, it's your mindset. Her mindset was understanding, okay, that wasn't right. But she wasn't pissed off. It made my whole body pucker to hear the stuff that she was going through. But it's the way that you manage it, you know? And I'm gonna say this, people, y'all talking about name brands, y'all talking about, things that make you appear to have status. The best status that you have is your character. And your character isn't based on a rating that someone else gives you. It's based on you knowing yourself, knowing how you manage, your situations, and knowing how the world around you operates. And that's all I have to say. Just, I mean, it bothers me, because to me, looking at this guy, he doesn't have a whole lot, but he wants to. He wants to live that life. And I think about myself too. I talked on a blog not too long ago about how I would like to have servants. You know, But the truth about it is, I say I would like those things, but the reality of that is, you, those types of people that are genuinely able to fill those roles, are not available. There's no such thing, you know, no such thing, And I think about people that are rich and famous that have people that wait on them hand and foot, like I was talking about, and how, a lot of times they're stabbed in the back. So the best gift, and I'm going to tell you, because I'm very open about this too, because I think I spoke on this a couple of times, not on any, like elaborate platform or anything like that, but, the fact that, what's the last thing that made you cry? And I was like, to me, it was like the knowledge that, wow, I'm half a century old, and I honestly do not have a person that's, is in my corner. I don't have anyone to say anything nice about me. At very best, it'll be neutral. And the thing about it is, it doesn't determine your worth. I was watching something, I forget the lady's name. She's Jamaican, but she's an American actress. But she was saying how, it doesn't matter. She says, people don't have to like you. People don't have to love you. They don't even have to respect you. But every single time you look in the mirror, you better love yourself. And that's the highest value you have to put on everything, not somebody's name brand, not somebody going to a dry cleaner or having limo service, not any of that. But when you look in the mirror, you should be able to look at you. And it don't even have to be with your physical eyes, because somebody can fuck your shit up physically. You know what I'm saying? But you need to know yourself. And I always go back to that. I remember being in college at Virginia Commonwealth University. And it's not as prestige thing or nothing like that, because that school was nothing. It was at the last minute, especially when I was going through it, right? But there was a Catholic church on campus, and the epitaph in front of the Catholic church said, "Know thyself." That's the most important thing. That's the most valuable thing you can have in this world, this knowledge of self. Anyways, I love you. Peace out and bless. This has just been on Prestige. And the true prestige is knowledge of self and the proper application of it.